Real Country 1430 AM and 107.3 FM WRDN. I'm Brian Winnikins. This is the WRDN Morning Farm Reports. And this morning, Sara George is going to join us as she is with the Wisconsin Women in Conservation organization. And they're going to be launching a summer camp lunch series. And the first one here is coming up on May 27th. And we're going to talk with Sara a little bit about that. And thank you to our newsmaker sponsors, including Compeer Financial, Animal Wellness Center of Buffalo Valley, Annabis Silo, Osteoplastics, Synergy Co-op, A&J Agronomy, and Wisconsin Farmers Union. And Sara, thank you for joining us. Well, first, tell us about the Wisconsin Women in Conservation. Tell us about that organization.
Absolutely. So the Wisconsin Women in Conservation is a collaboration of Renewing the Countryside, Moses, Wisconsin Farmers Union, and the MAFI. So my goodness.
Michael Fields Agriculture Institute.
Thank you very kindly. I appreciate it. So Michael Fields, we're working together with the NRCS to encourage and support women landowners who are looking at initiating some forms of conservation practices on their land. And it's really an exciting project.
Now, you own a farm here in western Wisconsin near Pepin. So tell us a little bit about the farm.
Absolutely, I do. I have DNS Gardens is my farm. I'm located about 4 miles north of Pepin, Wisconsin. And on my farm, we do farm to school, farm to hospital, and farm to restaurant. And I also have been the manager at the Wabasha Farmers Market, and in the past, the Red Wing Farmers Market as well. So we've been selling at both markets. A lot of the products that we sell on our farm do end up all throughout the community. This year, I'm going to be stepping back from a big portion of that so that I can be cover cropping our farm based on some of the different things I'm learning through this project. In addition to the fact that I put in so many perennials and they need some attention. So, but I do love having visitors on the farm. So I'd love to have anybody swing by.
So you mentioned you're putting in some cover crops. What are you going to be putting in?
Yeah, I was just looking at some different mixes. So you can do things like sorghum and red clover, some buckwheat. And what that does is it improves your soil health. If your soil health is improved, that helps you with your weed management. It helps you with how much your crops are growing and the productivity of that. So I'm really excited to be putting in that cover crop because then we're helping our soil health out there.
Now, with that cover crop, are you going to also try to use that to maybe sell? There might be dairy farmers that could use it as a feedstock or things like. Have you thought about that?
I have not considered that, but that's certainly an option. If there's farmers that are interested in utilizing that, I'm happy to do that.
Talking with
tilling it under.
Okay. Talking with Sara George. She's with Wisconsin Women in Conservation, and they are going to be holding a summer luncheon and summer camp series on different conservation issues. The first one's coming up May 27th, noon to 1, talking about increasing pollinator habitat. So Sara, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so pollinator habitats are really good. So there's a decline in pollinators due to invasive species, habitat loss, and pesticide use. And so our role is more critical than it's ever been before. We want to talk about ways that we can increase the pollinators that are out there, our bees and our butterflies and beneficial insects, so that we can use less chemicals and increase the conservation practices that are happening out there. This can be not only with pollinator habitats, but also there's pollinator patches that you can put out and in your land. And women, I think, are really particularly encouraged by focusing in on the bees and the butterflies. We have such a nurturing aspect that we do.
Is that the challenge for farmers that they want to do this, but they also have there is the business aspect, especially maybe a dairy farm, they have that other part of it too of, this is what we use to feed our cows. So is that the challenge here to try and have maybe a section or a part of a field just for the pollinators, or doing things a little bit later in the season so the pollinators get a chance, at least at the very beginning of the season when they're coming out of hibernation? That's the challenge, isn't it?
Is, and trying to balance this is a really complicated piece, and trying to understand, I was talking with Sally Farrar, one of our conservation coaches, the other day, and something she mentioned to me is that, she's got this beautiful prairie that she's been working on and trying to determine, do you till it in, or do you spray the chemicals to get everything cleaned, or do you try and do drills when you're drilling in the seeds? And making these decisions is really hard. And so we want to sit down with each other and share experiences, learn from each other's successes and failures. I mean, let's be real. Anytime we're doing some of these new things, there's going to be both successes and failures. And having that open conversation about that is really a big piece of what we're trying to do here, is just share our stories with each other.
Talking with Sara George. She is with the Wisconsin Women in Conservation, and they are launching a summer camp lunch series. The very first one will be May 27th over at Sara's farm, talking about increasing pollinator habitats. And so, Sara, that's where for your event, then folks are going to be able to learn a little bit more about how to do that. And it's really not just for farmers, but if I own some land here in Western Wisconsin, and this could also benefit myself, correct?
This is so true. So landowners are all welcome to join us. And actually, I'm going to correct that. So our increasing pollinator habitat that we're doing on May 27th is going to be a virtual event so that anybody within Wisconsin can do it. And so you can log into our website, which is www.wiwic, which is wiwic.org. And you can click on our events page, and you're going to have a Zoom link be sent right to you where you can join us virtually. This fall, we are doing some field tours and farm visits on farms here in Western Wisconsin. It's going to be at Sally Farrar's prairie, where we're actually going to be walking through her prairie and learning successes and benefits of what she's done there, and things that we can then ask her questions directly. That's going to be in August, but these events are going to be virtual for the month of May, June, July, and August.
Okay, so these will be virtual events, so that kind of makes it easier. Now, while it's on Zoom from noon to 1, will it be saved so that if I can't make it because I have other commitments, but I can watch it later?
That's a really great idea. So far, we haven't been saving these events, but I think that this type, we certainly can. We were leaving those stories to be personalized stories and networking events, but this one is going to be really beneficial, and I will definitely try to do some saving on those events as we're going forward.
And so, is there any cost for folks to be a part of the event?
Great question. There's no cost. We just love to have you engage.
All right. So again, this is going to be the Wisconsin Women in Conservation's Summer Camp Lunch Series. It'll be starting again on May 27th from noon to 1, talking about increasing pollinator habitat. And just log on to the Wisconsin Women for Conservation's website. You'll be able to watch that via Zoom as well. Well, Sara, again, we appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you.
Sara George with the Wisconsin Women in Conservation. You're listening to the WRDN Morning Farm Report.